Hello and welcome to episode 139 of The Fizz. I am here with the main men live downtown Detroit. It is 8 o'clock Tuesday, January 30th. And to my right, I have ice cold brew Lou. How we doing, Lou?
I'm still breathing.
Yeah, right.
Air's coming in.
Yeah,
That's all I have.
I understand.
Okay.
And to my left, Channy Football. How we doing, Channy?
All right, we're here.
Yeah. Yep. The energy is a little bit lower than it has been probably for the last, I don't know,
Month?
18 weeks. But definitely today, it's been, I've been calling it misery week a little bit. I've been down in the dumps. Obviously, Detroit Lions, first thing we're going to open with, main thing we're going to talk about. They lose in the NFC Championship in an epic collapse to the San Francisco 49ers, 34-31. We will not be playing in the Super Bowl next week. So we're going to talk about our emotions and kind of boil down to individual plays of the game and then where we're going next. And, Channy, let's start with you. Game happens Sunday night. Obviously, an insane roller coaster. What are your thoughts right now, during it, after it?
I think the main word that I've been using this week is numb so far. I don't really believe that it happened. I don't believe that it's really set into me yet. I'm not really angry. I'm not really sad. To be honest, I'm not really disappointed. I just don't know how to feel about it because I don't really believe that it happened that way yet. I can lose. I can get over a loss, but the way it happened, it doesn't feel real because it was so real at halftime of that game, and now it just came collapsing down in what seemed to be, like we talked about before the show, a 20 to 25 minute stretch in real time.
Real time, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just a pure state of shock, to be honest with you. Yesterday was, I got a little bit better today, still nowhere near 100%, but yesterday it was just like staring out the window like a lost puppy dog. Like, how, what, no way, us?
Yeah.
That way? Like, fuck, dude.
Weren't you supposed to be teaching the youth yesterday?
I was.
Taught him how to cry.
Taught him how to smell booze.
To me, yesterday was, Monday was the worst. Most people are going to be listening to this on Wednesday. So Monday was
by far
the worst. It was like sad, rainy day, put on sad music to feel more sad, go wash your car in the rain type deal. Like, I was just down. Same thing, looking out the window. I was sad, like at first, I think when it was happening, like that, the infamous second half was happening, that's where I was numb. Like, truly, when the worst things started going down, like I didn't really react. Like, I was literally that meme from The Boys where that guy's like watching the movie and he like looks pissed off. That was me watching the game. Like, I was very stone-faced and very like emotionless. And then it was just sadness is how I feel, because losing the way that we lost that game was way more painful than if we weren't the better team or had no business being there. Or
For
like,
sure.
dude, give me the 45-3 blowout,
dude,
over what happened.
And like
in that
that
game
day,
every time.
when I woke up, like we talked about it for weeks, but like I felt so fucking good about that game. Like, did my full regular routine, like went to the gym, did my stupid videos on my story. Like, everything just seemed right in the world. I went to the gym. I was in the shower after, and they have like the individuals, and
So
I was like
just cranking one.
Oh, I should have. I think maybe that's why we lost. Yeah. But I watched the Wolf of Wall Street, and I was doing that on my story.
You watched that in the shower?
No, I started doing that in the shower by myself. And some dude comes out after, like, I'm out of there. I'm, like, drying off myself. Some dude comes out. He goes, bro, I could hear that echoing throughout the entire fucking locker room.
I saw you, like, yelling at people on the street and stuff, too. I mean, everything was, like, electric during the day. And,
dude.
Like, everyone was buzzing. Everyone was humming. Everyone was feeling really good. And it just all completely unraveled, So, I mean, emotion-wise, I'm still not over this one. And just, like, I really couldn't stand just, like, obvious, like, we live on the internet. I especially like live on the internet. Probably, I mean, it's not healthy, but I'm all over the internet, and I just was not ready to be like, oh, first time in 30 plus years, we did this, we did that. Like overall, the season's a success. Like, and I'm still not there. I'm not ready to zoom out 20,000 feet and like look at the season that was a success, because it was. But like, I'm not ready to do that.
Yep.
Like, I'm still just like on the face value. Like, we were the better team with, 20 minutes, 40 minutes away from going to a Super Bowl versus a team that we've already beaten. I mean, that's just where I am. Like, we threw that game away. I believe we were the better team. We were the team of destiny, and to fall and collapse the way we did, just like, it's going to stick with me for forever as far as sports losses go.
The worst part about this podcast and this hobby is what we had to endure the last 48 hours, because I had to go through stats. I had to go through the plays again. I had to go watch the highlights and the big plays and who did what and why they did it and when it happened. And it was like just reliving
Torture.
a nightmare all over again. And, we do it throughout the season, and we go back and, hey, you lose a game, whatever. You win a game, you're like loving the highlights. Oh, here's where it was. And like, I will say this. The J-Mo end around gets me every time.
Dude.
Like that feeling when he did that, like even looking back on it, knowing what happened at the end of the game, that was like the feeling that I felt when that happened. It crept in at that moment that it was going to happen.
I know you weren't alone. I think everyone thought J-Mo was just running straight to Las Vegas.
Yep.
Like, because that was like how I felt. I mean, that was 4 plays, 2 minutes, sub 2 minutes. I mean, it just was like slice and dice. Let's fucking go. Like, we are off and running.
And as like I rewatched the game, like I kept telling myself, I'm like, how the fuck did we lose?
Yes.
Like, how the fuck did we lose? Like, it's mind blowing.
Dude, it's wild to me how my brain thinks about the game. Like, to me, the second half of the game was the 4th round of the playoffs, which obviously would be the Super Bowl. But to me, it's like we beat the Rams, we beat the Bucks, we beat San Fran game 1, and we lost game 2. Like, I literally have the first half and the second half just completely split in my brain. And the second half was so bad and so miserable. It like just completely cast this like giant dark shadow over the first half, where like you're talking about the J-Mo run, and like that was awesome. But like, I think about it for a minute, and then I'm like, oh, I think about the rest of the game.
100%. And the worst part of it all, because of how bad the second half was arguably that was our best half all year in the first half.
Without a doubt.
Agreed.
I mean,
Given the circumstances, the team we were playing,
Yes.
where we were, I mean, it was damn near flawless outside of the 1 touchdown we gave up.
Yep, we did no wrong in that. We literally did no wrong in that first half. Good teams are going to score against you. Good teams are going to stop you every once in a while. We didn't do anything wrong in that first half.
And on top of not doing anything wrong, like San Fran made mistakes. They had a missed field goal. Dude, we were fucking flying. I mean, we were up 2 touchdowns with a missed field goal. No, actually, we're up 14-7, and we're sitting here live, and like we're just watching Purdy and
struggle,
dude. Yes, struggle. And someone texted me and goes, "That Brock Purdy interception is gonna hit like crack." And in that moment, I took it live, and then he threw the pick like almost the next play. And we were just like, I was just like, and then we scored the next drive, another touchdown, and I was like, we're going to the fucking Super Bowl. The Detroit Lions are going to the Super Bowl. It was crazy.
And I know we're going to get into the game today, and we're about to get into kind of the X's and O's of it. But I want to say this, like, at least from my perspective, like, and I'm sure we can all agree with it, like, I'm happy everyone's coming back. I'm happy the coaching staff's coming back. I'm especially happy we got the great news earlier today that Ben Johnson's coming back. And with that, there were a ton of mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
Going into the game. So first part that we want to bring to the pod is just talking about the coaching overall and the decision-making overall in the game. So, Frank, a lot of big decisions. First half, third quarter, fourth quarter. Break down what you saw.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously the biggest decisions were going for it on fourth down. Those are the biggest ones. You know, I mean, so – and going for them on fourth down was just a little, he kicks the field goal, basically is what I'm trying to say. In the first half, he kicks the field goal, which I absolutely think was more than the correct decision. Like, you got him against the ropes, just keep stacking points,
Yep.
But to say that I'm mad at him for going for it on both fourth downs in the second half, I just feel personally would be extremely hypocritical of me. Throughout the season, all I've said is live by the sword, die by the sword. I mean, I've said it multiple times on the podcast, like the reason punt teams don't try to block our punts, the reason field goal teams don't try to block our field goals, the reason we always have teams nervous and on edge, even on third down of what the play calling is going to be, is because how Dan Campbell's coached this game. If we want to look at percentages even, like I'm sure everyone listening to this and you guys have all seen that stat of like, we have a 75% success. I'm making the numbers up. 75% success rate going forward on fourth down.
Yep.
And the distance Badgley was going to kick from, he had a 48% chance of kicking it. So if we want to play numbers, Dan Campbell did the right thing. The first go for it on fourth down, like it's hard for me to blame him. That's Josh Reynolds dropping a pass that he makes 1,000 times. An NFL receiver makes a lot of times. Like,
how many times did we share that screen chat?
Yes.
With the group chat? Like a million. The
drop.
Ball is laying in his hands.
And Goff's thrown that low ball to Reynolds like 1,000 times. That wasn't like he threw it to a big guy like Brock Wright or something like that. I mean, Reynolds has made that catch, and he's made that catch 1,000,000 times on fourth down or 4 first downs on third down. So as far as that decision goes, like, would it have been nice to add another 3? Without a doubt, but like, I'm only mad at the result. I'm only mad at Josh Reynolds dropping it. Now, the second one is just is full like crazy train to me. Like, that late in the game, to tie the game with all of their momentum, I just feel like maybe we needed a win, because I feel like the one thing that is under like mentioned in these situations is the momentum of what it does if you miss too. Like, you have to like re-energize and recharge as an offense, as a defense, knowing that San Fran's flying high and you're really low. It's just a huge momentum swing. So while I think that one was a little reckless, it still would have been like a 50-yarder for Badgley on the road in the playoffs. And if we're going by the math, knowing that they missed the first fourth down, the odds of converting the second one were even higher. And I don't want Campbell to change who he is in the most critical moment of the game. So while it's easy to look back and say, like, should have kicked him, I can't blame him for it. I absolutely can't blame him for it. And I fucking hate the outcome, but so I thought the second one was way crazier than the first one.
So I'm on the opposite end of you guys. I'm not going to be like, oh, fire Dan Campbell, he's this or that. This is who Dan Campbell is, and this is who you're going to get as a coach. And I don't believe he's a good in-game coach. I never have believed he's a good in-game coach. That doesn't mean you're not a good head coach. It just means you don't make good decisions in-game. I look at it where what happened at Michigan when they hired Juwan Howard? They had Phil Martelli, a veteran coach, on the sideline with them, and he kind of drew up the plays during timeouts, and he kind of calmed them down during these. I feel like we need someone like that with Dan Campbell, someone who can just be like, hey, this is what we need to do. This is the plan before the game. I feel like he's coaching like a player, not a coach at times. Mm-hmm. And my whole problem with it was, okay, he's been going for it throughout the season. I didn't like it in the Seattle game. I didn't like it in the Dallas game when he went for it inside the 5, let alone the 2-point conversion. But first half, you have it at 4th and 3 or 4th and goal at the 3 right before halftime. He went for it against the Rams on 4th and goal. He went for it against the Bucks on 4th and goal. He elects to kick a field goal there. Mm-hmm. I'm good with it. Smart decision. I think that's what you should be doing on the road against, on paper, a superior team. They were a 7.5-point favorite. But then why do you see such urgency and momentum in the second half? We were killing them on the ground, 7 yards per carry. And you're telling me you can't get 3 yards on the goal line, which I fully believe we could have. So my whole problem with it was inconsistency around it. He said we needed to do it, but he went for it twice in the second half and didn't go for it in the first half when we had a chance for the kill shot before the half. That is my whole problem with his decision-making. You want to be aggressive and go for it. I don't agree with it, but That is who you are. That is what you've done. And that is how we've gotten here this year. But you didn't go for it, and then you decided to go for it. Not once, twice. Twice. And as a head coach,
one of them to tie the game.
You need to have humility. You need to learn your lesson, not only in a game, but throughout a season. And I feel like somebody should have just grabbed him and said, Dan, it's all good. Hey, we're up 14, 7 minutes into the third quarter. We can kick a field goal and be even. 7 minutes in, we've killed off 25% of the clock. We've only got 23 minutes left, and we're up 3 possessions. That's my whole problem with it. If he would have gone for it at the end of the second, I don't really have a problem with it because he's staying consistent. But his inconsistency of the aggressiveness and the aggressive calls is my problem with Dan Campbell. Outside of some of the time management, we've talked about it all year. That end of the game time management was inexcusable. Inexcusable that he runs on 3rd and goal with a minute left and then calls a timeout right after, and then he goes for it.
Yeah, that was actually the one thing I forgot to mention was the worst play call of the game was the run on 3rd down.
Yes.
That was a full gamble because he thought they were going to get in, no doubt. But they had their small lineup out there, showed pass, and I get they were trying to trick him, but that actually really was the final dagger of the game outside of when we didn't get the onside kick. That sucked. And honestly, what sucked even more, though, is Fursker not getting in.
That was insane that he didn't get in.
Yes.
There was nobody 10 yards from him.
I don't get that. But to do that and run on 3rd and goal and then not make it a 1-possession game by kicking a field goal.
Yes.
Yes, of course, everyone, we wanted it for the spread. No. Just to make it a 1-possession game. That was what, a 4th and goal from the 3?
2 or 3.
3, 4. Montgomery got knocked back a yard or 2 on that 3rd down run. It's
it was a miracle J-Mo caught it, too.
Yes. It's you just got to remove yourself from the emotion. That is what a head coach does. And we all gamble. I feel like what Dan Campbell was doing on Sunday is when you sit down at the blackjack table with $400, you get up to $1,000. You get up to 2,000, and then you start betting 1,000 a hand. It's never enough. Yeah. You just keep going. Yeah. It's always a sliding scale. You got there by betting $100 a hand, and now that you got 2,000 in front of you, I'm going to bet half my stack at that point. And guess what happens? You fucking bust out in a couple of hands.
It was almost like he didn't feel like we had enough to be there or to sustain a victory.
Right.
He felt like 27 points was nowhere near enough, that 30 wasn't going to be enough. He needed 45 points to feel okay.
Right. And going back to the one in the 4th quarter to tie the game, it's it wasn't 4th and 1. It wasn't 4th and 2. It's 4th and 3, a long 3 against one of the best defenses. Badgley already hit a banger for us against the Rams. It's not like the guy was incapable of shining in the bright light, And like you said on the momentum thing, Frank, it's the wheels were falling off the bus at that point. We need to put some air back in the tire and fucking tie the game up.
Yeah, and I feel to Chandler's point, it's the gambling thing. It's he was just doubling his full bet as opposed to saying all right, let's get some of it back. Let's just have a win. He wanted to inflate the whole tire at once. And it's just again, I can't dog him too much just because I've lauded these decisions and we love when they convert, but it definitely did feel we ran into a team that could there's teams, most of the teams we played, we could have put up 27 points, taken those gambles, missed them, and still won the game.
Yep.
But not when you're dealing with, the class of the NFC.
It works against the Falcons. It works against the Panthers. It's not going to work against the Niners.
Yeah, and it didn't.
And hopefully it's a learning lesson to it. The thing I keep coming back to too is, and you mentioned it, and I know you weren't dead set on it, but I saw this stat so much: 75% chance to make the 4th down, or Badgley from 45 was 48% chance. Why the fuck Are we not getting a new kicker if we're not confident that he can make
I've
a
never understood our
45-yard
kicking
field goal?
situation the whole year.
What is going on where we have a kicker who makes 48% of the kicks from the 45-yard line? That's the first point. The second point is, why do we not have a new kicker, and why did we get rid of Riley Patterson? I'm not even being sarcastic. Lou, you're a high school coach. If you were in a high school game, you would kick a 45-yard field goal with most Division I high school kickers.
You're not wrong.
You would kick a field goal and have some confidence. Every college team would do it. Every college team would be confident in their kicker making a 45-yarder. We're a top 4 team in the league, and we're not confident we can make a 45-yard kick, and that's why we're going for it.
And it's just insane. We had Patterson the whole year and cut him for Badgley. Like, it seems like week to week we don't know who the kicker is going to be.
But I also think, too, it goes back to Danny Gamble's. Like, I don't think it had a ton to do with Badgley's percentage. It had a lot more to do with Dan Campbell's mentor of, I'm going for it. We're fucking going for it. I don't think he's like, he sucks, he's not going to make this kick. I think he thought, I've been fucking doing this all year. We ride the fucking wave. We die on the sword. We live by the sword.
Yeah.
Right.
And to be honest, I mean, Reynolds makes that diving catch. Like, we're literally not having this combo. I mean, which it's just reality. Like, it went right through his hands. That's an NFL catch, 2 yards. The play was drawn up perfect and he dropped it.
Yeah.
You know, it just fucking sucks. Cause I wish more than anything that Reynolds just caught that. So no, we're not even having this combo. And we just because truly his luck just ran out. Like, we watched it in live time. I saw a tweet that was, I thought, hilarious that said, wild to watch God abandon a team in real time.
I saw that.
Because that's how I felt. Because it was just like, we were the team of destiny. We were converting those 4th downs truly at like a 75 to 80% clip, which is fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
And we could not get one, and he was just trying to jam like a round peg into a square hole. I felt like the whole
And it
game.
wasn't like the plays weren't working. Like, fucking guy was wide open, ball was in his lap, like, just didn't make the big play.
But before we move on, can we agree on this? And Lou, I'm going to ask you first. Do you have to, or should you coach differently when you're on the road, you're an underdog, and you're in a big game? Because what everyone has been saying, which I'm fine with this opinion if you're of it, is, well, that's what got us here. Well, we haven't played the Niners yet. We haven't played them with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line, and we haven't been up 2 touchdowns on the road with a chance to go up 3 possessions.
I mean, I don't think you abandon who you are, but I also think you have to put into perspective, like, we need one more game to play in the Super Bowl. What is the realistic expectation of making these 4th downs or making this field goal or having this play? Like, this is bigger than us playing against Dallas in the regular season, right? You have to play to win the game, as dumb as that sounds.
That's why, to me, the third and final would-be field goal attempt, one we went for, one Reynolds dropped it. That last one to tie the game with no points to that point. So, like, our possessions in the second half, turnover on downs, the Reynolds drop, the Gibbs fumble, which is like a top 3 worst play in Detroit sports history, in my opinion. We go 3 and out with another Reynolds, right? 3rd and 11, 3rd and 8 drop.
That was worse than the 4th down one.
That's like playing catch with your buddy who just has lost.
That was in his fucking lap.
Yes.
Like,
but I mean, I guess like that was just a 3 and out, like in our own territory.
Go ahead.
And then so you have done awful results for the 1, 2, 3 last drives, and San Fran has gone field goal, touchdown, field goal. So, like, to me in that spot, it's like, we just need a win, and we can kick a field goal, tie this game, and then the ground is level set, and they're going to get the ball, but you know you're going to get it back no matter what. So even if they go march down in whatever, you have 3 timeouts. So if it gets close, you can start stopping the clock. That, to me, the second one was just like,
yep.
I mean, lining up. I mean,
even if you don't make
the
the field goal,
Yeah.
like, you're not dead.
Mm-hmm.
They still have the ball on their side of the field. We have 3 timeouts. There's plenty of game left. Like, it's not the end of the world.
So that's the one, to me, to full circle your question, of just like maybe adjust it a little bit,
Right.
Because we're in a very unique circumstance.
And learn from it. You're going to make mistakes as a coach, but you got to be humble and you got to learn from those mistakes. So,
And like, they just had like so much momentum.
Yes.
Like you needed to stop it.
Yes.
And even lining up for that field goal, I bet you San Fran doesn't try to stop it because of the fear of a fake.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they're not going to try to stop it. You're going to get a 70-degree outdoor kick with not a lot of wind in San Fran from Badgley.
An NFL kicker.
The second one had me like laying on the ground, hiding behind my hands. Like, and it's just, you knew they were going to march.
Yep.
You just knew it.
Yep.
But even if you kick the field goal, you make it and you know they're going to march, you at least put it back in your offense. And then if you really want, like, go for 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
100%. Well, the next, we got our coaching decisions out of the way. The next point that I think we can all talk about and agree on is the strategy and the game plan. Because first half, we ran the ball 21 times for 148 yards. With a 3-possession lead going into halftime, we ran the ball 8 times for 34 yards in the second half. I feel like Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't get many targets in the second half when he torched him in the first half. And correct me if I'm wrong, did Gibbs do much, if anything, after his fumble, which is going to happen? Yes, Dan Campbell is to be blamed for the coaching decisions, but strategy and game plan to me was off in the second half, and we got away from what worked. 7 yards per carry in the first half. We still had over 4 yards per carry. We just didn't do it enough in the second half.
The only way I'll disagree with you, Chandler, is just because, like, we didn't have the ball. Like, we really didn't have the ball for an extended period of time until it was, like, too late where we had to throw. So, like, if you look at our first drive after San Fran goes down and kicks a field goal, so we handed it off 1, 2, 3. One of them was to Amon-Ra, worst play call of the game. So, like, we handed it off 3 times with 8 plays there. So, 5 of them, one of them's so 5 of them are passes, 3 of them are runs. Then we hand it off next drive that we have the ball right away. Gibbs puts it on the floor. That's done. Then we go 3 and out with one of those plays being a handoff and the third one being a drop by Amon-Ra. Now we're in panic mode because we're down and we got to sling the rock. So that's the only way I'll disagree with you is, like, I don't know if we got away from it, but, like, we just didn't hold on to the damn ball, like, have the ball long enough. Like, the one where Gibbs fumbled, that was the drive where we should have just ran and put together, like, a 9-minute drive.
Yep.
I feel like.
Yep. I mean, I just see the first drive we had in the second half. We had Montgomery 6 yards, Montgomery 7 yards, Montgomery 5 yards.
Yes. I mean, what was it? So 3 of the 8 plays?
Yes. 3 of the 8 plays, he gashed for an average of 6 yards.
He had a great day.
He was like our
He
almost
was
our
a
best
bell cow.
offensive
Him
player.
and Goff.
Yes.
I mean, Goff played fucking lights out.
They were flawless, but to me,
Monty almost had 100.
It begs the bigger question of what happened in the third quarter of every playoff game.
Yeah.
Because, okay, we can agree or disagree on the strategy of this game, but 3 points in the Rams game, 7 points because we scored a touchdown with a minute left at the end of the third in the Bucs game, no points in the Niners game. We came out flat every single game after halftime.
Is it like just a come down because we're such an emotional team and we hit the ground running to start and then we get into halftime and we get the orange slices in us and we just are like,
I mean, I think our dicks were so hard that it was 24-7 that, like, we were, I guarantee you some of the guys in the locker room were like, fuck, dude, like, we're going to win this game.
we're going to go to this. I mean, fucking CJ Gardner-Johnson's waving at the at San Fran. Jesus
Dude,
Christ.
he had a bad game. Like,
yes, he had a terrible game.
He missed so many tackles. He got stiff-armed 2 or 3 times. It's like,
his
bro,
head is still laying
play
in
the
middle
fucking,
of the
play the game, dude.
Yeah.
Chirp him after the game at least.
I hated him waving. Like, it was just so, like, that is not us. We are not. You're waving goodbye to San Fran, who's been to the most Super Bowls of any NFC team.
Right.
Like the house of Joe Montana and like
Jerry
Rice.
And like, I don't know. Like, we are still like, we're not waving at people yet, man. I hated that so much.
I'm just wondering going into the offseason if it's the orange slices or if it's because our dicks were really hard.
Yeah,
that
well,
we
we're
came
waiting
out
for
flat.
your answer. You haven't offered shit. So at least Pizzo's got soft dicks and I got bad orange slices. You got nothing. I'm sick of it.
Oh, which brings us to our last point of the lack of playmaking, which we've already touched on. You guys take it away because this is arguably the biggest reason why we blew the game in the second half.
Regardless of what fucking Dan Campbell did, the players make fucking plays. We did not make any plays in the second half.
No. Not a single person stepped up besides, I think Goff played very well.
Me too.
He did his things.
He was putting the ball where it needed to be.
Exactly. Sure, he gets sacked a couple times. We know that. He's not running away from anybody. If the coverage breaks down, he gets hit. But it wasn't that bad. He got sacked, 2 or 3 times in this game?
Yep.
And none of them I felt like were his fault, really. I think there was one play where he had JMO in the middle and he didn't get rid of it quick enough. I'm literally trying to think of the one play Goff messed up, but we so desperately needed a big play, and especially on defense. There is no secret that the offense carried this team the whole season. We needed something on defense so bad, and I'm staring at my man Aiden Hutchinson. You had 8 sacks through 4 games. You're the number 2 overall pick. I needed him to punch Brock Purdy in the fucking mouth and strip the ball loose or sack him for 10 yards. I needed it so bad from Hutch. And no one did it on defense, so I'm not singling him out, but you're the highest pick. You're our face of our defense. So I always look to the guys with the biggest weight on their shoulders, and we just didn't get it. We did not get it, and it sucked.
It really did, and going back to it is I felt like we collapsed the pocket but didn't get hands on Purdy.
Yes.
In that rat scrambled how many times second half?
Dude, he averaged 9.8 a carry. How ridiculous is that? Yeah. He rushed for 13 less yards than Lamar Jackson on Sunday. Brock Purdy.
Yeah, that ain't right. It ain't Christian either.
That's tough.
The guy who looks like the IT manager fucking walking into the stadium. The Brock Purdy piece of this loss actually boils my blood. To know that he's in the Super Bowl versus Patrick Mahomes, to watch Goff shake his hand was just Purdy, you are not the reason any of this is happening.
And they escaped twice.
Yes, dude.
Twice on their home field. And I will go back to this too because we all called for it and then everyone kind of forgot about it. But what did everyone want at the deadline? We wanted a defensive end. Now, thank God we didn't get Chase Young.
Yeah, he sucked. Do you see the clip
bad.
of him sleeping?
Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything.
Bad.
He hasn't done anything.
No.
He has no
not
motor.
Even yesterday, in the last month.
Yes. So we didn't want him, but we were begging for Danielle Hunter, Montez Sweat, somebody opposite of Aiden Hutchinson because we've known all
I wanted
year.
Sue back.
Yeah, we've known all
Why didn't we?
year.
There was no risk on that.
There was nothing. We've known all year that was one of our biggest weaknesses was our front four. And guess what? It came back full circle in this game without getting any pressure. But my whole snapshot of the game came in 3 straight plays at the end of the third quarter. 3rd and 10, Goff throws to Josh Reynolds, drops it. We punt the ball. Jack Fox hits a blitz moon ball.
Dude, arguably the best punt I've ever seen in my life.
I couldn't even believe the camera kept panning.
It was insane.
And I'm like, is he going to catch it at the 15, maybe the 10? And all of a sudden it just dropped out of the air like a coconut fell out of a tree, bounces straight up. And who was it? Vildor?
Or
No.
Chase Lucas?
Chase
Lucas.
Chase Lucas 100%.
What
are you doing?
What are you doing? You can bat it back in. In worst case scenario, we've got them pinned inside the 10. That's a bad scenario in that instance. Instead, you're trying to catch it and keep your feet from off the end line. So we have a drop. We give up 15 net yards because we can't just knock it back into play. And then Melifonwu comes off the edge, has Purdy in the backfield. Purdy gets out of it and throws a first down to Juszczyk. That's when I
fullback.
I looked at
who
my
toe taps
yes.
the sideline.
I looked at that point and I go, it just God hates us.
Dude, I got to talk about that punt again. First time we've been talking about a punt, I got chills, which is ridiculous. But I got to say, Jack Fox had almost He had like a flawless playoff. I know
Yeah.
it's just a punter, but he flipped the field so many times. So I literally think he punted like 10 or 11 times in the playoffs. 8 of those were inside of 20. And one of those is the one that, not Dorsey, Lucas grabbed and sent out. That was a 74-yard punt. As soon as he hit it, who's with Olsen on the call during that game?
What's that guy's name?
I'm blanking
I can
on it.
see his face.
Whatever. Who cares? As soon as he hit it, he goes, "Oh, this is a beauty." And I was like, let's fucking go. And what drove me even more nuts is Khalil Dorsey, as that thing pops up, is breaking down perfectly and camping under it. And Chase Lucas just comes and fucking zooms it through the end zone at 1,000 miles an hour. And that drove me so fucking crazy.
It did. It did. Bonus points. Where did Jack Fox go to college?
Jack, I have no idea. Is there a hint?
It's in the state of Texas, but it's a smaller school.
Northern Texas?
TCU.
Rice.
Nice.
Rice. Didn't know Rice had a football team.
Jack Fox rocks.
Yeah, they're high flyer West Coast offense.
Jack Fox is awesome. And didn't we say a couple times during the year, like, we pay our punter the most money and we don't even punt the ball?
Yes.
And then throughout the playoffs, he showed that is why we're paying him the most money. And that goes back to why we should probably be a little less aggressive. This guy was nailing punts.
Jack Fox kicks the ball off too, doesn't he?
Yes.
Because he's the one dancing
does.
during swag
Yes.
surf.
Yeah.
Like, have him boot the. He's so sick. Let him kick.
There's
field
no
goals.
way he can't kick field
I'm
goals.
pro Jack Fox very much. As you
We
can
need to
tell.
get Jack Fox.
The
on
other-
the pod.
He also DM'd me when Champagne had like 3,000 followers when I had like the Iserman tees first going out, and he DM'd me
yeah.
and said, "This is sick." I was like, "Oh my god, Jack
Shout
Fox!
out
You're
Jack
Fox,
fucking
man.
sick." Yeah,
Yeah.
Jack Fox, anytime, man.
We'd love to have you on the show.
We'd absolutely love it.
The other
You're fucking
play
sick.
where I was like, God has abandoned us.
Yes, let's talk about the God has abandoned us plays.
Vildor.
Yeah, dude, let's talk about
The
it.
slow motion of that, like if you see the like just snapshots of it and the ball hitting off his face mask, Ayuk was like 3 yards behind him. The fact that he was
Falling down.
Yes, the fact that that ball popped up high enough and stayed in the air long enough for him to jump forward and catch it, and then them pick up the flag on top of it, like that's God abandoning you.
That is.
That play. So of all the like bad plays in this game, so like I don't know how you guys like when I would get like a new CD or a new album comes out, I usually like pick one song, run it into the ground, move on to the next one, run it into the ground.
I'm similar.
Yeah, so like Monday, I just kept watching that. I was like just torturing myself with the Vildor play, just watching it over and over and over. I've now since moved on to the first Reynolds drop like through his hands. So then I'll make my way to the second Reynolds drop and then and then Gibbs' fumble. And then I'll just, melt into a heap of shit. But this fucking Vildor play is truly one of the most insane sporting plays I've ever witnessed
Yes.
in a negative sense in my entire life. Do you guys remember the show Sports Science?
Yes.
Back in the day. I think they were like Michigan guys even.
Yeah.
So those nerds would get up and like calculate the angle. Just fucking dorks, right? They're calculating all the angles of everything that happens. I want to bring them back from the moment that ball hits his fucking face and like the probability of like it popping up in that direction and being caught. It had to be like in the negatives of the odds of that being caught. And I actually think it like was a touchdown. I think they just gave us that like down by contact as like a gift.
Yes, it's unexplainable, but know why that play didn't affect me as much? Because there was a bullshit pass interference call on that play. Where was the contact?
They didn't call it.
Oh, they picked
They
it up.
picked up the flag,
You'll
yeah.
never convince me though, Chandler. This
That
is
they
my other-
would have picked
that
it up?
If
Correct.
he
Yes.
drops that, if that goes off his face and falls to the ground like it's supposed to, you'll never convince me that they weren't going to throw PI
Right.
on that.
Right.
Like if you watch that play, I don't think it's PI. Vildors puts his hand out, touches Ayuk.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Ayuk kind of like missteps and the flag goes out. And to me, it's PI. I think they saw the catch, huddled up. Main ref got him, was like, "Hey, that was the most amazing catch we're going to see in the NFC Championship game. Let's not add a flag to the stat sheet for the Lions." And they went no flag. Yeah, I think if that thing hits the ground, it's PI.
Yeah.
And you'll never convince me otherwise.
Yep. Well,
But I will say, at that point, we were up 24-7, right? Or 10.
no, 24-10.
24-10. So we're up 24-10. Shit's going to happen. The fact that we were up that much, we had that much cushion, and they catch that pass and they're going to score, I still said we're just fine. Like, we were never going to blow them out anyways. we're going to get the ball back with the best offense in the NFL, and we still have a chance to go up 2 scores. Don't worry about it. The one thing we can't do on this next drive is go 3 and out. And we didn't, which was nice, but we fumbled 1 second into the play.
Yep. And I will add salt to the wound of I kind of forgot about this until I was looking back through the game. Even after that Ayuk catch, the next 2 plays, McCaffrey minus 2 yards, incomplete pass. We had him 3rd and goal on the fucking 6 after all that just happened, and we couldn't stop them. Mm-hmm. They throw the touchdown to Ayuk. So it's just, there were so many chances that we could have just made one play.
One of them.
And it would have, you just make that play. They're kicking the field goal there. Mm-hmm. We're still up 2 possessions. Yep. Even if Gibbs fumbles and the rest of the game, we're still up a possession.
And yes. One of the plays, one of like literally the single plays we've talked about. Like if one of those goes our direction, we're playing in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And what was like terrifying to me, which like actually set in. So the Gibbs fumble is where I like started to really shit myself. Like that's where I like was.
It was a tie game when that happened, right?
No. 24-17.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. So the Ayuk bomb.
That's when they tied it after.
And then we got the ball and fumbled right away. And so that's when I started to crap myself. I got really nervous. And then the crowd came to life. And it was like, oh, we're not in Detroit anymore. Yep. Like, and that was like, we don't have this energy anymore. And they were showing the players on both sides. They were showing the crowd. And it was the first time like in this Dan Campbell run era that I saw like bad emotion on the sideline. I thought we looked dead.
Yep. I thought so too. Well, do you guys have anything else you want to add to this game and the analysis?
Yeah, I do. So I'm not done yet. Just a couple of things like just anomalies, right? Like I just feel like there's so many anomalies in this game. So, follower of the Fizz, L. Karsten, he's a good Twitter follow, does a lot of stats. He tweeted this out. The Lions defense in the NFC Championship game missed 16 tackles. They averaged only 8 missed tackles a game in the previous 19 games. They had only 4 games with 12 or more missed tackles all season. 3 of them came since week 17. They averaged 12 missed tackles a game in the last 5 games, with the worst one being the most important game. So if you when you see a bad game and sometimes you say, God, we're missing all the fucking tackles, and maybe we're not really, it's just kind of amplified. Like, no, we were missing a lot of fucking tackles. And McCaffrey's hard to bring down, but you know who isn't? Fucking Brock Purdy. And I just felt like we could not bring that little rat down. Tough couple of days, guys.
It fucking sucks.
It really sucks, man.
It sucks.
I mean, like as far as, we can move into like what this means for Detroit sports history now. For me, the worst loss of all time in sports was the 2009 Red Wings Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals, where we were up 3-2. The Wings lose it at home. Lindstrom has a chance to tie it with 3 seconds left. Lindstrom, the best player in the entire world at the time. Sidney Crosby raising the cup at Joe Louis. Like, even saying this, like, I feel like I'm going to, like, catch fire. I don't speak of these games. I actually call 2009 the lockout year because it drives me so nuts. This is right there.
Yeah.
This is right there. I need like a few weeks or maybe months to zoom out and see if it's actually worse. But right now, this is the most and worst heartbreaking Detroit sports of all my team's losses I've ever experienced, maybe outside of that 2009 final.
Yeah, I'm with you. And the only reason that this Lions one stings so much worse is like the Wings are a successful hockey team. We've been
won the cup the year before.
Right. Like we've been part of championships. We've gone down that road. Like the Lions, dude, we're talking about the fucking Lions here. Like we have been the worst franchise maybe ever in sports for so long. And for us to go down like that is fucking gut wrenching.
Yeah. And just for how much we were at every tailgate this year.
I mean, dude, it felt like we were on the team.
Yeah.
Like
it did.
We like recognized people every week. Hey, what's up, brother? Everything good? Yeah, good to see you. We'll see you again in a couple weeks.
Yes.
Fucking, you guys want something to drink? You want food? You want this? Fuck. It sucks.
Well, we said welcome to hell one too many times because now we're existing in hell. My worst loss of Detroit sports is very equal to this one. And that's the Tigers versus Red Sox, Game 2, 2013 ALCS. Why is it so equal? Tigers haven't won a World Series at that point in 30 years. No recent success where we almost got there but didn't get over the hump.
Still no championships in our lifetime.
Nope. Had a lead. Had a big lead in that game. 5-1 at the time of that grand slam.
I can still see Torrey Hunter's ass.
Yes.
In my face.
That fucking
Yes.
cop.
And then what happened? After that play happened, it was a complete meltdown, paralysis by the Tigers the rest of the series. That series was over a game and a half into that series.
That one sucks too because we, no argument, no question, had the best roster in the MLB.
Best roster would have been up 2-0 coming home with the best roster in the MLB. That is by far the worst loss. The only loss I've cried about in my life, I was 14 years old, like cut me some slack, all right, was the Pistons Spurs, Robert Horry hitting the 3.
Yep.
That was just so shocking that, like, my emotions got the best of me at that point in time.
It's okay,
That was gut-wrenching. But like the Red Wings, we had won the year before.
Yep.
It was like, all right, hey, we didn't get a back-to-back. Not that I didn't want it, but that Tigers won in this Lions game, we have been begging. And fans of these teams have been waiting for so long to get to a chance to either get to the World Series or get to a Super Bowl. And we shit ourselves and we choked on applesauce.
We're saying the teams had one the year before, so it made it easier. But like, who knew that would be our last ones for both teams?
Right.
I mean, 04 was the last Pistons ones. 08 was the last Red Wings one. So it's like, no, you gotta want every opportunity that you're there because they slip away. And I think everything we just talked about is my personal Mount Rushmore of just like nightmare Detroit playoff moments. Is the Robert Horry hit, the Robert Horry hitting the shot, Lindstrom not burying versus Fleury. Fleury actually made a fantastic play. What am I missing here? Torrey Hunter going over the wall versus the Red Sox. And then I really think like you could pick the Lions game in general is the one, but I think the play you got to look at is just that Ayuk play. I mean, I think the Gibbs one fumble actually hurts more, but the Ayuk play like is the flame that starts it all.
Yep.
Because that's just fucking bonkers.
I agree with you. And hopefully it's a different fate because all those 3 other plays were the ending of an era or the beginning of an end to an era.
That's true.
Tigers, the next year was their last playoff appearance. It's been 9 years.
Did Leland retire after 13 or 14?
13 because Osmus came in that next
14,
year.
yeah.
So end of an era there. Pistons never got back to an NBA Finals
Traded
after
Billups.
that. Traded Billups. And the Red Wings have not been back to a Stanley Cup since that 09 loss. So what I'm hoping is that this is the beginning of an era, and we're on the flip side like the Pistons. The Pistons lost in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Nets before they got to the Lakers. I'm hoping that's the trajectory this Lions team is feeling, and going into the offseason, I feel good.
Well,
obviously, Ben Johnson
there it is, yep.
is coming back. That is, I mean, that's as shocking as maybe almost any singular play in the game on Sunday.
I truly feel like the Ben Johnson news today was like the oxygen I needed on life support. And I forgot who sent me that today. I took that from someone. Someone texted me that. That's how I felt. Because I'm really low, but the Ben Johnson news was like, okay, great. Because we've all seen in the NFL how tight the windows are, right?
Yep.
And this is where it got dark for me. It's just like, you get real nervous. People are like, "Oh, look at the Bengals. Look at the Bills.
Eagles.
Eagles.
Falcons.
The Falcons. Yes, dude. Like these windows in the NFL close so fast. And just to see Ben Johnson come back was like, there's a win. There's a win because we thought that domino was going down.
I feel like I'm that picture, that gif where the orangutan's got the tubes up his nose. Like that was me today.
The
just
Ashton gif.
That is me.
Yeah, like waiting for a breath of fresh air.
I'm that orangutan, and Ben Johnson gave me that oxygen today.
It does, and hopefully that keeps the window open a little longer. I really do believe we have like the infrastructure. Sheila, Brad Holmes, all the way down to Dan Campbell. Like that is a strong foundation to keep us going. But the NFL is designed, even though we've had dynasties between the Patriots between what could be a new Chiefs dynasty
It's
coming up here.
It's a dynasty. I don't care what they do Sunday.
What the NFL does is it makes it hard for the good teams to stay good. Why? You play a harder schedule the next year when you're good the previous year.
Yep.
Why?
Sorry.
Because your good players get poached. You have a salary cap. Why? Luckily, we dodged it. Your coordinators usually don't stay when you're on a good team, i.e. the Eagles last year lost both after they made a Super Bowl run. So I agree with you. It's not given. And for us to just assume that, hey, there's going to be a window, you can never in the NFL. It's not for long. It's not National Football League.
And I feel like the drop-offs happen like way harder. You know, like receivers go isn't there some crazy stat on turning 29 to 30 or 30 to 31? You know, obviously we don't have guys that old on playing receiver or anything, but I just feel like in the NFL, it's just a grueling sport. And it's just hard to repeat year after year.
Yep.
And aside from them getting poached, it's like, okay, great, we get a lot of these guys back. Like, knock on wood, but like we didn't have many like very critical injuries this year.
Nope.
Like, what happens if somebody comes back and Goff fucking breaks his leg? St. Brown blows his shoulder
Hendon
out.
time.
We're fucked, right?
But all of it. Like 100. I mean, Penne. Ragnow. Like, I honestly think if we win the Super Bowl this year, that Ragnow would retire.
Yeah.
I could see that. I mean, that guy, like, he even said, did you see his quotes?
Yeah.
Obviously, he was praising Campbell, but he said, you know,
it's fucking grueling.
He's like, I got to get my body back and my mental state back. He's like, of course, I'll do that for the guys anytime, but like, I need to really focus on getting myself healthy. That guy is like fucked
He's
up.
like a big fisherman, right? Like,
huge.
We're going to see him on the Detroit
Grizzly
River.
Man Outdoors.
Yeah. He's poaching walleye.
If you go on his Instagram, it's literally just him fishing or hunting.
Gutting fish.
Yes.
Dude, you could hang out with him, Lou.
I would love that. Are you kidding?
You guys should just
if I was a Make-A-Wish kid, that would be my wish.
We should get with Grizzly Man Outdoors, and you two could like teach my candy ass a few things.
Down.
That'd be great. I could gut a deer and throw up.
That'd be awesome. So going into the offseason, Ben Johnson, priority number 1, check mark.
BJ's back. Baby.
Yep.
We have a couple big names and then a couple meh that we don't really care if we leave. So I'm going to give us the 5 biggest names on this list of unrestricted free agents going. You guys get to pick one that we must re-sign. Now, you got to take into consideration what they're going to get paid. All right?
You got to help me with that.
So Jonah Jackson is going to be the most expensive. From what I'm hearing, he's going to probably be in the mid-teens per year.
Okay.
CJ Gardner-Johnson, $8 to $10 million a year. Glasgow, probably 5 a year, 4 a year. He's getting older. Josh Reynolds, I'd say he's going to get $3-4 million a year. He's not going to get too much.
Can I just jump in really quick on Josh Reynolds?
Yeah.
Talk about the worst game to ever have going into a contract year. The game, like literally the next day, you're thinking about your contract because your contract's done.
Yep.
And you do that. I know there's a body of work to it, and the agents have all the stats and the statistics, and they remember all the plays, but you can't tell me that you can't just point to like 2 clips and be like, hey, remember this? We're going to chop off like $500K for each drop.
Right.
You're going to be more incentive based.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the 5th guy I'm going to go with, just because he's O-line depth, is Skipper. So you got Jonah Jackson, most expensive, Gardner Johnson, next most, Glasgow, 3rd, Reynolds, 4th, Skipper, 5th. Frank, most important player to target going into the offseason.
Jonah Jackson. Spend the money on a guy who's good, that protects the quarterback. We know Goff's not good under pressure. That offensive line was the nucleus for our success. Jonah Jackson's younger. Yes, he's more expensive, but we got the cap space. Figure it out another way. I'd go Jonah Jackson A1 pick. Number 2 would be Glasgow, just for the O-line depth. That O-line is invaluable, and I think Brad Holmes knows that. This is also me showing my lack of knowledge of like draft of who would actually be there to draft to replace him. But if you're asking me straight up face value, just go get Jonah Jackson, spend the money.
I'm with you, Frank. Just to reiterate what you said, you have to keep the O-line intact. We had one of the best all season. That's a no-brainer for me. And to be honest with you, like, this might sound crazy, but I would bring back Josh Reynolds on a cheaper contract. Like, I know he had 2 of the most critical drops ever last Sunday, but up until that game, like, dude, we were just talking about how he stepped up in the playoffs, and he's had a great season. If he's a cheap option at wide receiver, he knows Goff, he knows Ben Jay, he gels with these guys. He's not going to be out there expecting to be the top 3 target. Like, I think he's still a good football player. He just fucked up in the most critical time ever of the season, but I still think he's a good football player.
I would love to bring I would love to bring Reynolds back. I truly mean that. But if you're asking me like of those guys,
sure,
like, give me Jonah. You know, I'm not throwing Josh in the trash, but I mean, yeah, I'm like really pissed at him.
I'm going same line of thought as you guys.
Yeah.
But I'm going Graham Glasgow.
Yeah, I'm Glasgow.
Because
you're saying
over
number
Jonah
one.
Jackson.
Gotcha.
Number 1, Graham Glasgow. He's a cheaper option. He's versatile. Get him on a 2-year deal. I think he's a good lineman. I think he's a starter. I was impressed with him this whole year. I want Glasgow. I just think Jonah Jackson's going to be too much. I understand it. I think he's a great player, but look at who you got coming down the barrel between Goff, Amon-Ra, Penei Sewell, Hutchinson. We've got a lot of guys that we're going to have to pay over these next 2 to 3 years. Jonah Jackson, to me, for that type of money, I'm just not going to spend it. Gardner Johnson, outside of him, safety's been pretty good, including him. I mean, we're really deep at safety, so I feel like we're so deep there, that can get off the priority list. My hesitation with Josh Reynolds has nothing to do with what happened on the game Sunday. My hesitation with Josh Reynolds is we need J-Mo. We need more of J-Mo. We have seen it, and we've called for it since the week he came back this year. This guy's got to be wide receiver number 2. And if you're going to keep having Goff's buddy, Josh Reynolds, receive more targets and more opportunities than J-Mo, I'm not good with it. J-Mo is that game breaker. We saw it in the first drive. We saw it in the Tampa Bay game. He blows the top off of defenses, and he gives us a different dimension. Josh Reynolds is a good player. He's a replaceable player. Go find me another Jamison Williams with that type of speed. I don't think you can do it, and I think you need to feature him more, which is why I'm not high on Josh Reynolds in the re-signing of it.
And even J-Mo becoming wide receiver 2 makes him pass catcher number 3.
Yep.
I mean, he's like,
Correct.
so if he's behind Reynolds, he's going to be pass catcher number 4.
But I don't think he's behind Reynolds. Like, I think next year going into the season, I think J-Mo is 100%
I'm with you
Reynolds.
too. Yeah, I do too. And I just,
He could be. Reynolds has such good rapport with Goff, which is a catch-22. It's good. You want that for your quarterback. And at the same time, I don't want him to take opportunities away from him, because how many targets should Amon-Ra and Laporta get a game? 15 to 20?
Yeah.
At least
30.
7, 8 each.
Yeah. I mean, they should get a ton of targets, and you need that third guy. And I'm sorry, Reynolds, I don't want – Reynolds got 4 targets this game. J-Mo got 3.
Reynolds had 4. He put 2 on the turf.
Yep.
Great.
Put 2 on the turf. J-Mo had 3.
Yeah, and the run.
And the run.
And J-Mo dropped a big ball, too.
Did drop a big ball. People do overlook that. Drop that
The
one.
Hail Mary? Or the flea flicker? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough catch.
I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't a tough catch,
It
but
did
it
go
was
right
a
through his-
catchable ball.
yeah, it was a catchable
That was a
ball.
catchable
It's on
ball.
the wrong shoulder. It's on the outside shoulder when you're looking in. It's a catchable ball, but, I mean,
Make a
that's
big
not
play.
a drop.
Needed someone to make a big play.
We do.
Yeah.
We needed that.
We do.
He's not infallible. But I mean, yeah, 2 tugs.
I mean, all in all, I know you don't want to hear it.
What?
Most fun I've had ever. This was a great
Why wouldn't I want to
season.
hear that?
Because you're like, I'm not ready to move on yet. Like, this is...
If we're talking about, I mean, yeah, we can. We have to talk about it.
Yeah, like,
do it.
to me, like, I immediately was, like, obviously numb, but, like, this season was awesome. Like, how fun did we have every Sunday? The energy throughout the whole city. Jared Goff chants at high school cheer competitions.
Yeah.
I mean, are we living on fucking Neptune?
It was just a dream. And I think it's just so hard because we were floating around in the clouds of heaven. Everything felt like, it didn't feel like reality. It was like AI. Like, we're going to like Comerica parties.
Work during the week was like nothing
Yes.
thrown to the wind. Like, all right, Sunday,
And
let's
then
fucking
Sunday
ride.
we're huddling up here at HQ, going to shoot videos, hanging out with everybody, watching the games, winning every bet we place because we're just betting
Riding
with
the
our
Lions?
hearts. Yeah,
right.
We're riding with the Lions. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt this was like the most exhilarating sports season probably I've ever experienced in my life. And I just think it was supercharged. Like, we were vibrating high at halftime. I know here in HQ we were playing Eminem and Swag Surf, doing shots.
Creed.
Like, I'm texting people, Creed, of course. I'm texting people for the Super Bowl party. I'm already making T-shirts and stuff. And then it just like, we got punched in the mouth like 3 times and we're dead.
Yeah.
And it was just the hardest crash and come down like I've ever experienced. And that's why I think it just hurts so much. And then you wake up the next morning and you're like, what just happened?
Yeah.
It just felt like a whirlwind.
100%.
I am sad that it's over, but I'm more happy that like we got to do it.
Yeah.
And we got to enjoy it. We made a ton of friends during the tailgate videos. We all, us 4 of us, were just looking forward to Sundays for home games for the whole entire season. It was a fucking blast. And you guys said it. It was the most fun I've ever had following a Lions team. Like, fuck, not even close.
I think back to a Rogers Roost meeting when you brought it up.
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, we should do something like a man on the street. And we kind of all looked at each other and we're like, man, these November games, if we're out of contention, it might get tough to stay consistent. But I've never
It's easy when you're winning.
I've never been more proud to be a Lions fan, and like to have January football. Like, what a fucking feeling.
Yeah.
What an absolute thrill of a feeling. This is what it's like to have a good NFL team. Sign me up.
Yeah. And to like
Sign
love
me
the
up.
team. I mean, just to watch, like, I mean, I think watching the Lions beat the Rams was, after that,
Unreal.
it almost felt like house money. Because,
Yeah.
like, watch Goff come full circle, deal with all the Stafford shit, and then just to beat that old team. Like, that storyline was fucking incredible. To watch Ragnow fight through every single injury in the world, to watch Dan Campbell just do his thing, to watch Brad Holmes pick these guys that no one wanted him to draft or thought he was going to draft, and they become the top producers in the NFL. I mean, it was just incredible, from, Branch picking off Mahomes to start the season, to Laporta breaking records, to Gibbs scoring touchdowns. I mean, this team is like impossible not to love. That's why we were being called America's team towards the end of this, and why everyone was rooting for us. And it's just awesome to be like really proud of your city and your team, and to like you said, Pizzo, felt like we were on the team.
Yeah.
Felt like we were on the goddamn team. It's freezing out during that Rams game, and we're just like, grit, baby.
Yeah.
Dude, like, realistically, too, like, the weather was fucking awesome for the videos this year. Like, we had 2-ish bad days. The rest of them were, like, either really nice or, like, mild.
Yeah.
So, I mean, fuck, it was just so much fun, man.
It was awesome.
The one thing I will miss is like us being the only ones with cameras and doing it. Like, no one was out there in the Seahawks game. No one was out there in the Falcons and Panthers games.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then you got to the Rams game, and every NFL media vest was out there.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to do videos now. There was a couple other people that do it. Respect to those people who were doing it at
Our
the start
camera
of the
was
season.
much larger and more impressive, though.
Exactly. Well, 100%.
And our videographer is a lot better. Shout
We
out
have a
producer
way
Mike.
better videographer.
Much better looking than everyone
The best
else's.
in the biz.
Yeah, and I don't know if I said that. I may have said this. I don't know if I've just said it between us, but to start the year, we didn't have any logistics figured out. It was just like, we're just going to go on the street and see what happens. We're wearing the blue ski mask. It's 1,000 degrees out.
Oh, my God.
We have no clue what we're doing. We're like nervous to go up to people, but we couldn't really figure out how to like carry the camera, this like very expensive giant camera that Mike has. And I was just like, just forget it. We'll just do our phone. Like, it'll be fine. And he's like, I really think we should bring the camera. I'm like, I think it's just a pain in the ass and we shouldn't bring it. I'm eating my shoe every time. Was so wrong about that, because the camera changes everything. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it makes you look official. People are drawn to it.
Microphone,
The quality's better.
yeah.
Just way better than me standing.
How many bars did we go into? And they're like, "Are you guys with the news?"
Yeah, we just said
for
we're
sure.
with the news.
A local media outlet.
Yeah, and they're just like, "Can you swear?" Meanwhile, Pizzo's like, 2 girls, 1 cup, or meat spin.
I will say this, though. We can't give Mike all the roses, because one moment I think back to, which was funny, when we didn't know what we were doing at the start of the year. was when we all got on our scooters ready to go, and then Mike's like, "I gotta go shit." And we were already late to the tailgate.
But yeah, no, I know. I was joking because I feel like that happened a few times.
Oh my god.
No, yeah, that was it. That's how we started.
That was hilarious, but I couldn't be more excited. What we usually do at the first of the year is now what we can do. Focus on our mock drafts. It's in our backyard. Our season starts early this year, having the draft here in Detroit come
the
April.
draft's coming back.
So, I mean,
coming here.
Holy shit. Like, I don't want summer to fly by, but...
Yeah, that might be a documentary. 3 days of the draft. We should camp out.
Dude, and our game is going to be upped tenfold. Like, we're going to be hosting parties next year.
Yeah.
We got the draft. Like, we're coming with the fucking hurricane next year.
Yeah, we'll definitely be on the street more. I mean, we got the draft, we got opening day. There's other things we'll get out there in general.
Who knows? You might see us at Pine Knob.
Yeah. Mark your calendars. Was it late July?
July 31st.
In the dead middle of summer, there is a Creed concert.
That's right.
Fizz crew may take a break from sports.
There we go.
Focus on religion.
There we go. Well, we have to touch on it. We're not doing Super Bowl talk this week, but we do have to touch on the Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Ravens. Somewhat of a surprise, but not really. Both of you guys had the Chiefs. I was the one that was wrong this week.
He took Ravens money line.
He took Ravens money line, but had the Chiefs with the points. Frank, 2-0, bang, bang. Chiefs with the points and money line. Channy 0-2. Some say it was because he wasn't put on the non-debatable Heat report.
Yeah. Shows you how you handle adversity, and you failed. So I challenged you, and now I see you crumble.
I mentioned it, Frank. You agreed with it, but Chiefs, you got to think they're a dynasty, right?
They're absolutely a dynasty. I don't care if they lose on Sunday at all. I mean, I think if you go to 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, which is they've done more than that. Like you're a dynasty. Like so,
you've won the AFC 6 times.
You're a dynasty.
Right.
Like it's the NFL. Like it just we always say it doesn't happen, but like it's the Patriots did it, now the Chiefs are doing it. So it seems like someone's always doing it. They're a dynasty. Like you can say what you want. You can be annoyed about Taylor. You can be annoyed about Kelsey. I know it's annoyed me a little bit throughout the year, but Mahomes killer. Travis Kelsey, I thought has looked like shit all year. He's been the best.
Balled out that game
and the game before.
Yes,
I mean 2 touchdowns, right?
Yep.
Like he is balling out, catching every ball. Just I think maybe they're just so used to this that it's like nothing matters till
a regular
we get here.
Season game for them.
That's what I mean. They're so good, and I know we're gonna do Super Bowl talk next week, but I'm taking the Chiefs in spades. I don't care what the number is for the Super Bowl.
Amen. Amen. And Lou, I know you're not going to be here with us next week. Enjoy Mexico. Give us a little first thoughts from you on the Super Bowl.
Cerveza 1 hand, Cerveza 2 hands.
Jesus
my
Christ,
boy.
What are we doing?
I like. I'm with you, Frank. One, I fucking hate San Francisco.
Yeah, same. I can't.
Fuck them.
It also could be anyone on the other side. I'd be taking them.
They squeezed out Green Bay. Bullshit win against us. I think that the Chiefs do it again. Like, I'm with you on that.
I can't picture a world where Brock Purdy raises that trophy and Mahomes is walking off the field.
Muy caliente.
I don't even get what he's doing.
What is Cerveza 1?
Yeah, I think he was just trying to do a Mexico thing, but then like did a half English thing.
Miami.
All right, now you're just singing Will Smith. But wait, if we're gonna actually talk about the AFC Championship game, the one thing I'll say is that the Ravens ran the ball like six times, and you were saying like you can't abandon your play call. That was what they did to a T. They abandoned it completely.
God didn't abandon Ravens.
No, they abandoned the offensive coordinator did. Yes. The run game did.
Didn't want to run the ball with Lamar after doing it all year.
I saw a list of run plays every game for the Ravens. The minimum they ever ran it was 12 times. In the AFC Championship game, they ran it 6 times. 6 running plays.
Not good.
That's tough. That's really tough.
What are your thoughts?
I mean, my thoughts are this. I still want to see what happens. Early thought. I'm with you guys. I think the Chiefs are the better team. I think they're going to pound them on the ground. And Cerveza 1 hand, Cerveza 2 hand. That's my other thought.
Yeah, we're all thinking it, I think.
Si, senor.
Okay. Now we're like towing the line of just, we're being ignorant.
Oh, man. Well, we're
speaking Spanish, baby.
We are going to save the Super Bowl talk for next week. Frank, we're going to be betting the color Gatorade that gets splashed on Andy Reid.
Coin flip.
We're going to be going through everything
Direction
next
of
week.
The Jets.
So if you're a sicko, tune in next week.
Yeah, next
we'll
week's
have
the
your
absolute
guide for
sicko
you.
episode.
Yes,
Yeah.
we are
Especially no Lions. Like,
no
it's
Lions.
just-
Yes, we're getting.
I'll be
real.
sending in a video from the fucking beach,
Great, do it-
loaded with props.
do it in Spanish.
Cerveza 1 and 2.
Isn't it uno and dos?
Not today, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna give you guys the floor. Red Wings update here.
Yeah, Red Wings, again, won 4 of their last 6. They're back in the hunt. Once again, they're in the second playoff spot. Bleacher Report actually did this thing, one word for each team of the NHL, and I was like, if they didn't pick roller coaster, they have no clue what's going on, and they actually did. The word was roller coaster. Couldn't agree more. Just been absolutely up and down. I feel like the story hasn't changed. I guess the only good thing with the Lions going out, there's nothing good about it, so don't think I mean that, but like I'll focus more in on the Wings here.
Yep.
I see the note that you put here, Channy. Was that you rawing Frank?
No,
Or was
I put that in.
Yeah, and he's rawing me.
Yeah.
Rawing me hard.
That wasn't a mistake.
Ever since I said he was the worst signing of the Yzerman era, he's been like the leading goal scorer for the Red Wings. He's been on fire. Larkin's been on fire. Yeah, I mean, we got to keep the train rolling. The biggest news, I think, is that Patrick Kane is going to be out till after the All-Star break. Gave a pretty solid interview today, said it has absolutely nothing to do with the hip. He's just a little frustrated that, he gets back, he does all this rehab, and then something else kind of tweaks. They're not saying what it is, which is the beautiful thing about the NHL. They don't tell you what it is. So he'll be back after the breaks. And he did make a good point. He was like, as soon as I got cleared, I played like 19 games in, whatever it was, like 30 days, which was a lot.
Yeah.
So he just, he needs a little rest, and the Wings are winning without him. So he'll come back, he'll add a charge, and
There's no need to rush him back at this point.
yeah, we're going to be that 7th or 8th seed.
Are you getting that Fanatics rally cap for the second half of the
Man,
season?
I swear to God, we could do in the middle of summer. We're just going to pick topics, and I'm just going to rant about them. You guys aren't allowed to talk, and I could go forever on the Fanatics thing. The fact that Gary Bettman has signed on a 10-year contract with this fucking organization, and they're going to be the official on ice partner of the NHL, and they got to wear all that shitty merchandise, makes me furious. There are going to be decades worth of photos of everyone in championship hats and apparels and interviews and jerseys wearing that fucking shitty Fanatics logo for so long, and it's just awful. It's terrible. It's egregious. Bettman needs to go. It's just so bad for branding.
It kind of reminds me of the
All three other leagues have Nike. All three other leagues have Nike, and then we have Fanatics, which is like, it's like what your aunt gets you thinking she got you something cool when you're a little kid, and you're like, damn it, it's not the movie quality.
All the bad kids in high school had the F, the famous F.
Yes.
That's what it reminds me of.
All the bad kids.
Dude,
All the naughty kids.
it's awful, and it's inexcusable. It's inexcusable. It's just, you're deaf to everything that's going on. Like, people who are mad at Adidas, like, that's fine, but now it's just like, we have to cry in the corner. It's Adidas is
Stephen Barry's
tenfold
up
better.
next.
Yes.
And then what? The All-Star break is this weekend?
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah.
I think it's on the 3rd, I want to say. So Kane being out really isn't that long.
He's already been out, and then so we have, it looks like after, when's the next game?
We got one against Ottawa this week, don't
Saturday.
we?
Yeah, Ottawa tomorrow, and then we have Vancouver and Edmonton next week.
Okay.
Or one this weekend. I think Vancouver's this weekend.
Man, we're going to have to talk Pistons together next week, Frank, because there's going to be no Red Wings and there's going to be no Lions.
There's a Super Bowl and a lot of betting we can talk about. And if you want, I can trash Fanatics some more.
Okay, we could do that.
Yeah.
I'll trash Tom
All-Star
Gores,
game
you can
Saturday.
trash Fanatics. We can have a trash off.
Yeah. Who's more trash? That should be
We'll
a
do
segment.
a 15-minute trash off next week.
Yes, we will.
But what's not trash is Izzo celebrating his 69th birthday tonight, going for win number 700, playing against the Michigan Wolverines.
That's on right now, right?
I feel
9 o'clock?
yes, it's on right now. I feel like
Why is the tip so late?
all of our, oh my gosh, 15-8 Michigan with 11 minutes left in the first half.
Oh, moving slow.
I was going to say, I feel like all of our aggression and anger should be taken out on tonight's game, and we're
It's still
down
January. I
7
don't even
early.
know college basketball is happening.
No,
I am like,
I've watched minimal to zero.
Watched a little bit, but not too much, to be honest with you.
I am like that college basketball fan. This being open, honest about it. Like they say there's like, the people only go to church on Christmas and Easter or whatever. I'm like the hoops guy that doesn't.
You only watch
till
it in March?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
well, no,
fair.
February. I'll get in February.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. So Izzo going for win number 700 tonight on his 69th birthday, and we're getting doubled up 10 minutes into the game.
What is it, 8:15?
Yep.
Speaking of birthdays, one thing I meant to note, I just want to say condolences to Crackman because it was his birthday on Sunday.
Yeah, I know.
That's how he had to celebrate his birthday, which is just
We're with you.
The stars aligned, and then they fell out of the
And they
sky because
didn't.
God abandoned us.
Yeah.
God abandoned the Detroit Lions. All right. Pistons are like 2-1 in their last 3, Channy. I feel
That's
like
right.
you want
We
to
got
talk
a lot
about
of
that.
content for him next week. I don't really have it on the show sheet, but we'll have a lot more about him next week as we.
Here's the one Pistons thing I can contribute. There is a fake video going around the internet of. Have you guys seen this? It's someone yelling at Cade from the sideline, and it's fake. It's total. You can tell it's a voiceover, and someone yells to Cade as he's about to defend an inbounds pass, and he goes, "Cade, the Pistons need to trade you," and he like looks really quick and nods, and it's like this video that's going all over the internet, but it's totally just like dubbed over. It's just voiced over. Maybe we should just take that video and like say things we like. I'm like, Fanatics is trash, and he's like nodding. We could just take that as like a bit and keep running it into the ground. So, all right. Anything else, boys? What do we got?
Let's go to over under.
All right. You don't want to talk about the Vildor play anymore?
No.
All right. You know what I'm realizing? That I didn't tell Jerry we were recording tonight.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so this is all on me. I don't have an over under list for us. I'm trying to think of something we could do on the fly. Let's see if we can just do random word generator. And then we'll do that.
All right.
So I'm in the random word generator.
All right.
So tell us how this works, Frank.
Yeah, so I type in, so we'll do nouns. This will be perfect.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Random word generator. First one. All right.
Is this the first over under not from Jerry?
No, I used to do guest ones.
Okay.
And then they kept repeating everything. Jerry's the only one who knows. Can we do proper noun generator?
Wow.
Because like it's not giving me, it's giving me the word like
dog?
internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way overrated.
Oh man. Yeah, guys, I think I just failed us today.
That's all right.
That's all right.
No, I did let us down. Jerry is normally right on top of it. We normally record on Wednesdays, so he doesn't have anything. And I don't have anything.
Oh yeah,
This was a somber episode anyway, so in
big deal.
fashion, in the fashion of how we started it, we should end it somberly.
Yeah. So I apologize for no over under. Pizzo's late for a hockey game anyways, so we'll get him out of here. But hey, to everyone who has supported us this year during the Lions season, it was, like we said, the most fun we've ever had, and the biggest reason for that is because of all of you guys, all the support, all the momentum we gained. We ask that you stick with us through summer as we figure out what the hell the content's going to look like. You know, obviously we got Wings, we got Tigers, but we know that Lions Kool-Aid hits a little different. So to everyone on board here listening, please share this. We'll keep bringing the content, keep bringing the energy, and you guys do the same. So we appreciate it.
Stay classy, Detroit.
Love y'all.
See ya!